Good. And thank you for being here. And let's see who's here today. Excuse me. Boom, boom. Here we go. All right. So here I am in the chat. Actually, it's a little easier if I pull it up on my phone. And I don't really have much planned for today. It's more of a hangout. If something happens, great. If not, then at least I'm here attempting to fulfill my streaming schedule. Now, currently, it says I have 0 people watching, which happens sometimes. And sometimes when I say, oh, there's no one here, somebody says, well, wait, I'm here. So I think YouTube sometimes gets the data messed up there. So this morning, I got a comment from one of our viewers of the Jordan Peterson content, and it was an interesting comment, a well-intentioned comment for everything I could tell, that was basically just observing the potential that Peterson's followers were mostly white males, and also that there was a lot of alt-right followers for Jordan Peterson. Although I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if that's actually true. I've never seen any data that corroborates that information. And if there was actual data, I would like to see it so that we have all the facts. But I don't consider journalism that's malintentioned or just trying to poke a fight as data. So if you're listening to this and you're the one who wrote that comment, I'd love to see where you're getting that information, or if it was just more of a statement based on your own personal opinion. But anyways, I digress. So what do you all want to talk about today? I got a new book this week that I'm reading, and it's called Flow. It was written it was published in 1990. It's by a guy who I can't pronounce, Mikhail Csikszentmihalyi or something crazy like that. I can't pronounce it, but it's a really good book. It's got a good basis in science that essentially assists people in understanding what it means to live a meaningful life, what it means to be in a flow state. And it builds off of existential philosophy and into the practical applications of living a life in flow with yourself. Griswold Grimm says, my voice is really deep. Let's see. I'm going to try to fix my microphone. Hold on a second. Can you hear me now? Is there anything better here? Chris says it was like I inhaled anti-helium. Can you hear me now? That's normal now. Okay, good. So it sounds like my voice is all good. Thanks, guys. So what do you guys want to talk about today? I'm just kind of
throwing paint at the wall. Thanks, Daniel. Daniel says that's better. And seeing what sticks. I just wanted to hang out and check in on everyone. How y'all doing? What's going on? My mind is rather blank today. I just wanted to do a hangout. So whatever y'all want to talk about. How great has your family reunion been, bro? Says Grizz. My family reunion has been fantastic. I've got to spend time with my brother, my dad, my cousin, my uncle, and a couple different uncles actually. And more family will be coming on the 4th of July. So my mom will be here and all sorts of other people, which is going to be fantastic. And I've been having a lot of fun. And it's been great because I can work remotely from here. And then I can, after I'm done with my responsibilities, I can wind down and hang out with my family. So it's been fantastic. And it's really cool to see how far we've all come and how we can all get along together. And one of the things that I like that Peterson talks about is how when you sort yourself out, then you can start to sort your family out. And I feel like we've all kind of done that. So we all get along. Daniel, we are in Maine. Daniel asked which state we're in. We're in Maine. I was born in Portland, Maine, and my parents moved us to Colorado when I was 1 year old, and my brother and sister were born in Colorado, and I spent most of my life in Colorado. So Daniel says I'm from Quebec, but I live in Winnipeg. That's great. I haven't spent very much time in Canada, and Mercury, the co-host of this channel, lives in the Quebec area, and I'd like to go visit him at some point because we've never met in person. We've only met over video calls and phone calls. So it's kind of odd to be so involved with Mercury. Like, I feel like I know him intimately as a friend and as a partner on this channel, but we've never met in person. And I'm excited to see what that's like. And I think it'll be good if we can make that happen. So Christian existentialism, Daniel says, are you into that? I don't really know much about Christian existentialism. Now I know about existentialism and Christianity, but I don't know what Christian existentialism is. Actually, it's probably worth a quick Google, just to give me a little context. It sounds really fascinating. Christian existentialism is a theophilosophical movement which takes an existentialist approach to Christian theology. Okay, yeah, I could have guessed that much. The school of thought is often traced back to the work of the Danish philosopher Kierkegaard. Oh, I like Kierkegaard. I love his work on anxiety, and I would be curious to see what Christian existentialism looks like in action. I need to do some reading on it. So I'll make sure to study it in my spare time over the next couple of weeks, just briefly, so I can get an idea of what it's about, because I'd like to figure out what that really is. I really do like existential philosophy, that's for sure. Okay, so Daniel says Maine. I've been there once. Yeah, Maine is a beautiful place. I love it here. Sometimes I think I might move back to New England one day, because I don't know. I love Colorado. I can't make up my mind. Colorado's amazing. It's a phenomenal state to live in. But Maine, just when I'm here, I feel like I'm home. Maybe that's because I was born here, or my family has spent generations here. Credenzio Studios. That's my brother Colton, who tricked me last time because he changed his username. What's up, bro? Online connections are deeper than most people realize, but it's a different kind of relationship. Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's been really rewarding to see how many deep friendships I've been able to create online, including with many of you. Griswold Grimm is here, and we've had quite a great connection going, and that's been really rewarding. And you can really create a friendship over the internet, which is something that I don't think anybody could have predicted was possible. And it's been amazing to watch that happen, and rewarding friendships, not just surface level, like you're saying. It is a different thing, though. There's something a little bit different when you're in person with someone. What's going on, Gloff? Welcome. Sally, what's going on? Sally says, hey, punks. I love it. Poking some fun here. Daniel says, yes, he is an Anglophone from Quebec. We have a huge English speaker community. That's cool. Gris says, it's easier for some people to be more open with strangers than that they can click out of existence at will. That's hilarious. And it's true. I mean, you can just, like, if you don't like someone online, you can just block them or stop talking to them. It's a little different when you're in person. Griswold Grimm says, what do you got top of mind for learned helplessness? Well, learned helplessness is that's something I definitely, we talked about that quite often in my undergrad for psychology, and it's an interesting topic. The first question is, where'd they learn it from? Like, where did somebody learn helplessness, right? And so some of the theory is that the helicopter parenting in the I guess it would be 70s, 80s, and 90s, early 2000s, created a phenomena of learned helplessness within children. So if parenting styles can influence children to learn to be victims, to be helpless, I suppose that's possible, but I'm not sure to what extent it's a product of conditioning and to what extent it's a product of just a variation of personality types that people come into the world with. So, for example, I think some people are more likely to respond to life in a victimized mindset than others. The best example that I can think of is the Soviet camps or the gulags, because if you look at those people, there were some who were able to actually go through the immense suffering in which they were literally victims and being abused, but they didn't treat themselves as victims. And while there were others who were quick to victimize themselves and to feel sorry for themselves. So I think that there is something constitutionally within human beings that creates different thresholds of resilience. Some people are just have a more positive attitude towards life. And I think you can learn to have a better attitude. I think that that's something you can learn. But I think that people vary within their constitution. So, yeah, victimization's bad. It's really damaging, because it's one thing to be a victim, but then if you add further victimization onto yourself on top of that, and you don't take responsibility for your suffering, even if you are being abused, then you're just really digging a hole. And it's really hard for people who continue to victimize themselves. I've seen it happen over and over again. It's absolutely horrible to watch, because when you have that confirmation bias, when you already feel like a victim and then the world proves it to you, then you continue to prove it out. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Anyways, I'm going to try to keep up with the comments today. So I won't go too deep down any rabbit holes. Daniel says, yes, me too. There is so much to learn, exclamation point. I like existentialism too. Yeah, existentialism is fantastic. And there is so much to learn. And there's so much I don't know. And you all teach me a lot every time that I'm on these live streams. So I appreciate you for that, for being my teachers and my friends and helping me to better myself. Daniel says, I'm a French Canadian. My English may not be great sometimes. LOL, I write better than I speak. I sound like a German or Slavic or South American person. Well, you're writing just fine. You sound great. Or you're very legible. So yeah, whatever you're doing is working great. Griswold Grimm says, Sally Hart was looking at your mental health stuff the other day. Do you mean mental health or metal stuff? No, I'm sorry. I don't know why I read mental health. That's a weird thing my brain just did. Metal stuff, that's Sally's art. Sally's a fantastic artist. Sally says, Karen Wong made a channel for interviews and it's art and math focus. Karen Wong. I've never heard of Karen Wong. That's interesting. Wow. Art and math. That would be an interesting channel. Helios, quiet. My dog's going crazy. He wants to go outside. Be quiet. It's okay, buddy. We'll be done in a little bit. I promise. Maybe I'll have to let him out in a minute. Okay, so Gloff says, talk about the logos, my dude. Okay. Logos is something that really Peterson immersed me in the concept of logos, although I had been introduced to it in different forms before, but he was really good at teaching it, especially in maps of meaning, in his book Maps of Meaning, and then in his lectures, obviously his biblical lectures, along with his Maps of Meaning lectures and other lectures, talks about the logos as the thing that articulates chaos out of order. It's also the spoken word, and the logos is kind of the God principle of our reality. It's that which realizes potential. And the logos is primary to the hero's journey, where the hero ventures out into the unknown and slays the dragon of chaos and cuts the dragon into pieces and creates the world of order out of the pieces of chaos. And that's really what civilization has done over the last tens of thousands of years. As a humanity, we have taken this vast amount of space and energy and nature and evolution. It's just crazy when you look at how much there is. If you just look at nature, if you ever have a chance, if you live in a city, I highly recommend going to a national forest and just looking from a peak how vast things are. And then think about the fact that humankind has built a civilization out of the 5 natural elements. We're the only species that can create tools. Monkeys might have the capacity to utilize very, very small amount of resources in the environment, but we can create tools that no other species can create. And we've managed to somehow create society out of nature. Go to a city and then contrast that with the national park. It's just insane what we've made. So that's what I have to say about that for now. Sally says she's got 2 out now, just getting rolling. Yeah, well, go check out that channel, everyone, if you're interested in Karen Wong channel for interviews and art. So fantastic, Sally. Sally says, oh my God, learned helplessness. I have a friend in grad school studying that. I'm going to send this to him. Yeah, well, if he's studying it in grad school, I'm sure he knows more about it than me. I've only studied it loosely, and it hasn't really been a topic of specialty for me, especially not in graduate school. where I'm focusing on depth psychology and Carl Jung and stuff like that. But yeah, I would be curious for him to send me what he's learning rather than you sending it to him. But feel free to send it to him if you think he'll get something out of it. If anything, he might have more to add. Grizz says, response to learned helplessness. I think of Peterson's rat lunch wrestling when the big rat doesn't let the little one win 35% of the time. Yes, if you don't let the I think in Jack Panksepp, who I have that book by Jack Panksepp now, Effective Neuroscience, and I used it briefly for my last research paper. But yes, I think that if the big rat doesn't let the little one win at least 35% of the time, the little rat will stop playing. So it's important that there is a competitive reciprocation between both parties. Otherwise, one of them will stop participating, which isn't good for either of them. Sally says, cool, Graham. I need to redo the Sands of Time series as 2D for the internet. I think I'm focusing on fleshing out my visual narratives this year. Had a little interlude doing tourism work. Sally's art is fantastic. If I know some of you haven't seen it yet, I would highly recommend checking it out. It's really great. I really love it. Gloff says, it's frustrating to see people you care about succumb to learned helplessness. Yeah, it is frustrating. And there's people who have a really bad hand dealt to them in life. People who have chronic illnesses. People who are unable to work to their fullest capacity due to certain... Thanks, Grizz, for posting Sally's link. If you want to check out Sally's art. Thank you, Grizz. That means a lot. That's helpful. So the thing is that it's like the idea that we're all created equal is a principle. We are all created equal as the way that we treat each other, but we're not all created equal as actually like how intelligent we are and what privileges we have and the gifts that we have. Like Sally's a great artist, for example. I'm not a great artist, and it wouldn't really matter how much I tried to do art. I wouldn't have the same natural gift because that's something that Sally was born with or had the capacity for. Just like I can play basketball as much as I want, but I'm never going to be as good at basketball as LeBron James. Ain't going to happen. Sorry. I'm never going to be as innovative as Elon Musk. Now, don't get me wrong. There's certain things I can do that other people can't do. There's certain things you can do that other people can't do. But we're not all created with the same abilities. Okay, we all have we share some abilities we can use across space and time as a civilization, but we're different. We're all unique. And if we were all the same, life would be kind of boring anyway. What would be the point of all of us having the same abilities? And that would be the most boring thing in the world. So because of that, some people are put into situations that are more difficult than others. Some people have more capacity to deal with those difficulties than others. In other words, life's not fair. Life's not equal. We treat each other as if we were equal because that's a good principle to live by. That's a good principle to found a country on. But it's not actually true. We're not actually all equal. Doesn't mean that we're not all respectable, but equal, I think, is almost the wrong word, in my opinion. I guess you could say we're all equal as souls, which is really what that means. But anyways, I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, learned helplessness. Yeah. So people who learn to deal with their situations based on the idea that they can't, or that the world's not fair, or that they would if they could, but they can't, and mom and dad weren't good enough, and society didn't give them enough opportunities, and life's not fair, basically, blah blah blah. It's like, no matter how bad your situation is, there's probably someone out there who has it worse and still managed to deal with it. So I know that's kind of a harsh thing to say to someone who's feeling sorry for themselves, but it's true. Look at, again, just look at Alexander Solzhenitsyn. That guy was in the fucking gulag camps, and he made the best out of it. You know, he decided to learn as much as he could about human nature and write a book and to try to be as good of a person as he could. You didn't see him feeling sorry for himself. And if anything, he was criticizing himself. So, okay. Karen Wong did a Vanderklay interview, Sally says. Yes, that's fantastic. Yeah, go check that out. Did Daniel says, did you ever watch the German movie Nevermind Story? This is based on a novel. Never Ending Story. I haven't seen that. Maybe I should write that down. Oh, wow. Grizz says, I have the book on my desk right now, Daniel. I love Bastian's journey where the movie cuts out. Daniel says, there is lots of symbolism in this movie. I'm watching it differently because I'm older. And he says, Grizz, that's great. And Daniel says, I'm 38, LOL. Daniel says, we all go to the washroom and bleed red. We are being similar and mortal. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, we're definitely all similar. And we're also all different. We're similar and different. But we have a lot in common, that's for sure. And we're all human beings. So that's for sure. But as far as IQ and natural abilities, the literature on that is pretty clear that that there's definitely a genetic component to the differentiation between people as far as intelligence, personality, stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that it's 100%. It's not anywhere close to 100%. If anything, nature and nurture combine to make us who we are. So I think holding, as Tim Freak would say, the paralogical, where we're all similar and we're all different. We're universal and we're individual. So I think that's the way to go there. Grizz says, oh my God, you haven't seen the Never Ending Story? You need to remedy this ASAP. Yeah, I've never seen it. I'm going to actually write it down on my, see my whiteboard here. I'm going to write it down.
Never ending. See? I think I should be able to watch that this month. Okay, hold on there. I'm coming. There we go. Google it a bit. Okay, I'll Google it right now. Never Ending Story. Daniel asked me to Google it. On his way to school, Bastian ducks into a bookstore to avoid bullies sneaking away with a book called The Never Ending Story. How have I not seen this? The cover looks so cool. It looks magical. What? I love shit like this. It looks so mystical. Maybe I have seen this. Wow. I love shit like this. That's badass. Thanks for sharing that. I gotta watch this. I love anything that's kind of mystical and sci-fi-ish, fantasy-ish. Grizz says we're all an awareness in a meat sack, but the meat sacks vary widely. That's a good way of putting it. We do have different meat sacks, and we also are similar. Gloff says something bugs the hell out of me about the we're just ghosts in a meat sack thing. Is it a little too pessimistic, Gloff? Or what bugs you about it? It is a little strange. I agree. Hold on. I gotta let my dog out. He keeps whining, so we're taking a walk. So, all right. You get your way, buddy. You're going outside since you can't stop complaining. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I'll be done with this in just a second. Go. Did you just step on my laptop, you jerk? See, buddy. He stepped on my keyboard. Come on. All right, back to business here. Oops. Here we go. All right. Thanks for your patience. Yes, his name is Helios Grizz. Did I just say his name? Yeah, that's the I think of the Greek god of the sun, Helios. Why did we name him Helios? Well, we got him from the Humane Society when he was 3, and Victoria and I were trying to figure out a name for him. And we bounced it around for a little bit, and we came up with Helios because we wanted something kind of cool and badass. And that's the end of that story. But all right. Gloff says in response to the meat sack thing, it's not even strange. Even if it was strange, I can deal with it. It's just so damn nihilistic. Who cares about murder? It's just making a ghost in a meat sack disappear. Oh, shit. That's fucking funny, dude. Yeah, I don't think it's that simple. I don't know, man. I'm kind of in a ambivalent mood today. Like, I just feel like I don't know shit. You know what I mean? Like, I keep learning and reading all these books and watching all these philosophers talking on YouTube and reading and studying and meditating and journaling. And dude, it's just like the only thing I have is more questions. I don't have any fucking answers. When I think I have answers, there's always a couple holes that get poked in them. I mean, I have some like I feel like I have a basic basis for philosophy and reality. But I also feel like it's just an ongoing process. You know, what I think I know today is going to be totally different than where I'm at 10 years from now. So I guess it's good to have a beginner's mind. It's also frustrating because I always see people who feel so certain of everything they know, especially people who have been doing philosophy and psychology and stuff like that their whole life, who are like in their 50s or 60s, 40s, whatever. And they're so confident in what they have to say. And I mean, I'm confident in some things that I know. Like, I'm confident in areas of psychology, but it's not like when you see Jordan Peterson give a lecture, he's like, boom, like, this is what I think is going on here, man. Like, what do you think about that? And I'm just like, yeah, that's great. You know, but I have so many questions. Daniel says, you gotta love Never Ending Story. You need to watch it 2 or 3 times. You know, I wish we could watch movies on here together. Like, if I could screen share and we could watch a movie on YouTube together, like a live stream hangout, that would be so cool. Why not? I bet YouTube would shut me down faster than you can blink. But that would be awesome. It's kind of like a drive-in theater, except for you just on YouTube, stopping by to watch a movie. And I don't know. Why can't we watch movies together on YouTube? What the fuck, YouTube? It's bullshit. Sally says, Blast only having a phone is suboptimal. I missed the last 14 minutes. Oh, shit. You missed 14 minutes. We were talking about you. We even posted a link. Grizz even posted a link to your art. Programs 10 says, we're more like a self-perpetuating yet constantly changing pattern. I love that. That's beautiful. Griswold says, ending someone else's meat sack ride is still a major no-no. Oh, fuck yeah. You can't be ending people's meat sack ride. That's against the law. You have to let people live out their meat sack lives. Gloff says, are you slap happy? I can be slap happy too. Yeah, I can get pretty slap happy. I mean, right now I'm kind of just random. I'm not too slap. I'm more like I'm just kind of floating right now. So if I was slap, I get rambunctious when I'm slap happy. Like you've probably seen me like that on the channel before. I get wild. Yeah, I'm not quite there. I'm a little too tired. I'm on this new workout routine. And my brother's doing his morning workout routine too, and it pushes me because when I see him working out, I'm like, God damn it, I can't let that fucking bastard get stronger than me. It's funny when I admit like how trivial my thoughts are. It's like I've literally been working on myself for a decade. Like I had to get sober when I was young. I did the 12 steps. I was constantly working on myself. I still have the most ridiculous thoughts sometimes. Like, can't let my brother get stronger than me. Like, it's just automatic. I'm like, God, and I'll watch myself think that. I'm like, why do I really give a shit if he gets stronger than me? I mean, I'm going to work out either way because it makes me feel good. And it's good for me. And I feel healthier and more energized. And I have a better day when I exercise. That's for me. But yeah, like, there's some... Or I was thinking too, like sometimes I have the most selfish thoughts. Okay? Like this is really fucked up, but I'm just going to say it. Sometimes all of me doesn't think this way, but parts of me are so selfish they think this way. They're just like they don't give a shit about anything else. Like I would rather like instead of going to a meeting, I would rather like that person be sick. Oh, I can't make it to the like not always. But like if I'm in a really selfish mood where I just want to do what I want to do and I don't want to like I used to think when I went to school in undergrad, like I've literally, and this is kind of shadow stuff, like in the Jungian context, like I would be like, oh, well, maybe there'll be a car accident and nobody will be able to get to school. Or maybe there'll be a big fucking blizzard, nobody will have to go to class. Like I thought that. Maybe that's just me, but when I think those thoughts, the other parts of me are like, did you really just say that? Because all of me doesn't feel that way. Like there's other voices in my head that feel different ways. They're like, no, if somebody gets in a car accident, then they might get hurt or they might die. And just because you don't want to go to your fucking 2:00 appointment doesn't mean that everybody else should have to suffer. Like suck it up and go. But seriously, that part of me doesn't give a shit. And I think that in Jungian psychology, the idea of accepting the parts of us that are unacceptable, so to speak, or societally taboo, like that, most people wouldn't admit that shit. Like most people wouldn't admit that they have thoughts like that or whatever their deepest, darkest fears about themselves are. But I don't see any reason to resist it. If it's happening, if that's what I'm thinking, like I'm just being honest. Like those thoughts doesn't mean that I act on them. I don't act on those thoughts, but they happen. And if I don't acknowledge them, then they'll just take over me unconsciously. If I acknowledge them, and then they have less power over me. Because there's parts of me too who really care about others and really want others to feel happy and to have good lives and to be healthy. And if I don't acknowledge the parts of me that are selfish, then I can't allow the parts of me that are loving and selfless to prosper. I'm kind of surprised I just said all that, but it is what it is. I mean, what do I have to hide? I'm just being honest. Knowing you have the questions is huge, says Sally. It's about the trajectory, not the location. Thank you, Sally. I really appreciate that. Grizz says, stumble forward and marvel at the stuff you used to think was true. That's a great point. And I'm sure I'll continue to do that. Programs 10 says, and we're all part of a larger pattern that has apparently been continuously active for billions of years. Yes, I'm fascinated by the evolutionary perspective on humanity and psychology, all leading us to this moment, you say. Sally says, Jordan Peterson is an old man who can only eat meat. That doesn't sound very nice. I don't think I'd want that. Enjoy being able to drink coffee, Sally says. Beautiful. Thank you. I will. Griswold Grimm says, I love to sit in my underwear and eat Cheetos as I realize that I am the pinnacle of human evolution. Oh man. That's hilarious. Wow. Sally says, thanks, Chris. Daniel says, do you believe in the creator of the world? Are you an atheist or agnostic? I believe in a creator. The creator for me is not, it's not something that I can explain, but I feel like I have a connection to a power that's greater than myself. I like to refer to it as either a great spirit of the universe or the spirit that moves through all things or bigger intelligence. Sometimes I call it God. I like the word creator better. And yeah, I feel that connection. And whether it's objectively, scientifically true or not, like, I don't really care. I just believe it because I feel it. And that makes my life better. And it also adds meaning to my life. And I don't know how to prove it. I just know that I have a relationship to something bigger than myself. And that's good enough for me. And when I connect with that thing, my life is better. Daniel says, do you mean the shadow about the darkest thoughts? Yeah, it's just, okay, so the idea of shadow is, okay, so let's take the Freudian concept, okay? We have the id, ego, superego. So personal, subconscious, ego, the manager, superego, societal expectations. So if you have a thought or you want to act in a way that goes against societal norms, there are often instincts to suppress that thought or that action because it would not be functional within society. So if you have a propulsion towards a negative desire, or like, for example, like something that would go against the collective that would hurt the society, then the likelihood that you're going to try to suppress that to accommodate your peers is high. And what that creates is what Jung would call the shadow dynamics. It's just suppressed contents of the psyche. If we don't address them, they come out sideways. That's what people call being passive aggressive or self-sabotage or whatever. If you don't make the shadow conscious in a Jungian sense, then it will control you. So if you're not aware of the parts of you will control you if you're not able to control them. So when we deny aspects of ourselves because they make us uncomfortable, like, you know how Peterson talks about it's important to know how much of a monster you are. I just admitted to you guys, the fucking thoughts I have sometimes are monstrous and selfish and absolutely unacceptable to me from a deeper spiritual place. But I still have them sometimes. They still occur to me, especially if it's not what I want to do. However, if I acknowledge them and bring them into the light, they have less power over me because I'm not in resistance. What you resist persists, to be cliche. When I'm in resistance to what's happening it just makes it harder. It's like quicksand. You're struggling to get out of the quicksand. You sink deeper and deeper. But you just accept that it's happening. It's easier to deal with. So for me, I don't see any point in denying the selfish or the societally taboo aspects of my nature. I'm not naive enough to think that that's not a real part of me or other people. In fact, like maybe other people just don't want to admit it as much, but it is what it is. And we can sit around all day trying to deny who we are, but it doesn't get us anywhere. And I think we're all better off if we just be honest. Obviously, honesty has its reasonable limitations. You don't want to walk into a public space. You don't want to announce your darkest thoughts on YouTube. I mean, that would just be absolutely stupid. But behind closed doors, maybe in like a friendly environment with people you really trust, then it would be reasonable. But I would never recommend going on live on YouTube and telling everyone some of your darker intuitions about life. That would be unadvisable. And actually, if you did that, I would advise you to immediately get a lawyer and not speak any further for at least 3 weeks. But you would never do that. So I think you're in the clear. Sally says, it's valid. I'm not going to directly put my shadow thoughts online in case the Google communists take over and add my internet life to my profile. Hey, that's exactly what I was just talking about. So you are wiser than I. But, for me, it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make, because if somebody else can see that I'm willing to admit parts of myself that are uncomfortable, then maybe that will help them. And if I have to do that publicly to potentially help someone else, I will. Because I'm so awesome. I'm such a good person. See, there you go. Yeah, right. Like I'm that altruistic. Yeah. No, it would be great if it helps someone, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just making a fool of myself. Who knows? Grizz, you're mighty nihilistic, mate. I feel my screen name is an adequate disclaimer. That's funny. Daniel says, I believe there's a creator of the universe. Thumbs up. Awesome. Me too. Griswold, but I guess I'm here to sort that out some, talking about the nihilism. Yeah. Grizz, I think that I don't know, since I've known you, you've shown a lot of different aspects about yourself, both the positive and the scary and all that stuff. So I think you're right on track, bro. Sally says, unapologetic realism has its pros. A lot of people misunderstand the intent and it appears mean. A lot of people are weak and asleep and they see it as a virtue. People who are unapologetically real are a threat. Yeah, and I like to be as real as I can, and I learned that from people that are better than me, better men than I. I watched Peterson talk about when people try to tell him he's a good person. He said, I'm not a good person. Like, I'm just a tamed beast. That's basically what he thinks about himself. But he knows his nature, and he knows, like, he's not, he doesn't try to tell people he is a saint or that he doesn't have aspects to his nature that are monstrous. He embraces that. So, and when we embrace it, we can control it rather than it controlling us. I don't think they're wrong about the threat part. Not exactly, anyway, says Grim. Oh, interesting. That's an interesting thought. Daniel says, we often wear a social mask, but we want to show other people. Yeah, and Jung called that the persona. What we present to the world, to the super ego, is the persona. That's the outward facing aspect of our personality. That's what we bring to the table so as to present an image And in that image, hopefully people will see something they like, or that they want to buy something from, or that they want to be friends with, or that they think is acceptable. And then that's a protective mechanism. If you're accepted by other people, then you're in the clear and you can cooperate with society and get your needs met. So it's got a survivable aspect to it. However, the persona from a Jungian perspective can overstay its welcome and create issues, because then you can become too artificial and there's no substance to your personality. You're not real. You're just a walking automaton trying to get yourself acceptance and approval, and or you could be sociopathic or psychopathic, where everything you do is simply a facade to create the illusion of acceptability, but really you're just in it for yourself. You're not really truly in cooperation with others. Sally says, art and fiction provide the safety of metaphors. That is where we are allowed to discuss the depths of the shadow in society without violating the norm to a point that disrupts the order. I'd prefer it wasn't that way. It's just what I see. Yes. Yes. I agree with that. That's actually a really deep observation. Fiction allows us to express things that, yeah, it's beautiful. I love fiction. Griswold says, I'm coming back around to that, Sally. For a while, I was so truth obsessed, I shed away from writing fiction. Oh, interesting. You write? Are you a writer, Grizz? Is this something I'm not aware of? Wow. Daniel says, yes, persona. That means mask in Greek, from what I remember. Person, persona. Yeah, I think that's right. Sally says, they aren't wrong about the threat. A lot of people won't admit that they're also the threat. They identify as prey, as the victim, and they are genocidal. Coffee's almost gone, folks. Coffee's almost gone. Wow. Whew. That's some strong coffee right there. I'm trying to get a hold on this, Sally. Hold on. Yeah, Sally says, I quit reading fiction for about 5 years because it was a drug for me. Well, escapism is certainly a thing, although periods of escapism within novels and literature have been some of the greatest adventures I've taken, especially reading The Wheel of Time, The Lord of the Rings, things like that. It's nice to get into a different world sometimes. Now, that being said, if it becomes an issue where you're no longer managing your life and interacting with other things you care about, then I can see how that would get out of hand. Sally says, I was an escape addict. Well, great awareness. I'm glad that you got a hold of that. Sorry, my camera's lens was open. See that? What's going on? This is what I'm using to. Oops, fell off. This is what I'm using to film the interviews with Strachan with my GoPro. It's a pretty good camcorder. It's not 4K, but I don't think 4K is really necessary. It's a lot of money for something that I'm not going to need, because 4K doesn't even show up on your screen unless you have like an over 60-inch TV. Otherwise, it's barely noticeable, the difference between 1080p and 4K, which most people don't realize. Sally says, I was evading a toxic relationship and destroying my living life. Have you got to my Vanderclay, Ryan? No, I'm sorry, Sally. I haven't watched your Vanderclay interview yet. But I will. I will. That I promise. But I haven't had a chance. I don't know that I'm not escaping right now, says Grizz. Yeah. I mean, you have to define what you mean by escaping. Escaping from what? For example, if you are trying to better yourself, then you're escaping from hell. If you're trying to escape from bettering yourself, then you're escaping from that. So I think it's all context dependent. So you're defining escaping in opposition to something. What is it? What is escape? What are you escaping from? Because then we're assuming that we're escaping from something that we shouldn't be escaping from. So what is that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. How are we defining it? I should make some. I don't care if you all use it or not, but I'm gonna make some. I'm gonna make you a moderator, Sally. I'm gonna make you a moderator, Daniel. You don't have to do anything. You don't have any responsibilities that you don't want. But I need moderators on this channel. Grizz, you'll be a moderator, obviously. Grizz says he doesn't like moderating, so I was hesitant, but you can just be on the list. Gloff, you've got the moderator wrench. I want you all to have the wrench just in case. And if anybody ever needs to use it, because right now, since you're a moderator, I'm pretty sure that you get to continue to be a moderator for the time. It doesn't go away unless I remove it. And what that means is if there's ever a time when a live stream gets out of hand, where there's too many comments and people are harassing or whatever, you can just moderate. You don't have to, but you have the ability. Sally says, I won't have a computer till almost August, then I will. Fantastic. And then now I'm seeing the wrench by your username. So yeah, again, it's not an obligation. It's more of hey, I trust you guys. You're all great. So I'm going to give you the wrench and you have the power to use it if you need to. And I trust your discretion. So I trust your judgment, and you don't have to ask me permission to moderate. Just if your judgment shows you that something's worth moderating, then you can always feel free to do so, especially if we're doing a stream that has every once in a while we'll have a bunch of comments pouring in, especially if we're doing a Jordan Peterson response stream or something, and it can be good to have a moderator for those types of things. So Grizz says, I do like my name being blue, but the power is tempting. What's the guiding principle you'd like applied? Well, okay, I gave it to you guys because this is a small stream today, and I literally trust everyone who's been commenting. Daniel, Gloff, Sally, Grizz. You are all people that I have really good intuitions about, and I trust those intuitions. And you earned it. You've been authentic. You've contributed to the discussions. You've stuck with me. What's the guiding principle? If somebody is detracting from the value of the conversation in a way that is potentially going to severely derail it and is clogging up the chat feed, then feel free to moderate it. I would say minimal necessary force, as Jordan Peterson would say. So don't do it unless it's necessary. And otherwise, you can just have the wrench there to make you feel special and powerful, like having a powerful scepter, like a wizard that can wield the internet. Pretty cool. Grizz says, I'll do warn timeout ban. That sounds good. That's a good idea. Sally says, I'll take it as a move up in the dominance hierarchy here. I'll fight more lobsters now. Yeah, you all ascended the dominance hierarchy of sorting myself out's YouTube channel. That's cool. Are you familiar with Paul Williams' music? I love his music. It's so existential and potent. The song Time and Tide is great. He co-wrote a book about recovery. Oh, that's fantastic. I don't know Paul Williams. That's another thing I'm going to write down on my whiteboard. Excuse me. Paul Williams. I love all the things that you guys show me. Paul Williams. Okay. Got it. Music I should write just to clarify. Okay. All right. Oh, and I have to. Oh, no one else should watch Sally's Vanderklay interview on my board too. So I have that. Vanderklay, Sal. And I know that there's a few emails. If any of you that Shane, I know that you emailed. I need to respond to that, and a few other emails. Dan, stuff like that. So I've got you all in mind. Michael, I know you emailed. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry. I've been having a hard time keeping up with all my communications, to be honest. And when you email me, I really do read it and I take it seriously. And I'm behind. So I'm doing my best, and I'll continue to try to do better. Daniel says Paul Williams is 78 years old now. Wow. Griswold Grimm says Discord progress on hold till you're back in Colorado. Shit. Yeah. I guess I should be honest and tell you that it just hasn't been on my mind for the last week because of all the other things going on, but it is I think it's on my to-do list, actually. Let's see. I mean, I could literally set up a Discord channel in 2 seconds, right? Like I just create, I go to add a server and I call it, let's see. Is that right? Is that right? Yes, Gloff, you're a wrench boy. That's right. Daniel says Paul Williams played the main role in Phantom of Paradise, based on a movie based on Faust. Oh, wow. That's cool. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Let's see what happens here. Hold on. Where is my? There it is. Okay, let's share the screen. Actually, no, I should be careful here because I don't want to give away any personal information. Oh, look at that. It's like the never-ending window. Wow. Okay, that's crazy. Trippy, man. Okay, create a server on Discord. Okay, we're going to call it Sorting Myself Out. SMO, perfect. Whatever. Okay, so that's the link I would use. I'll copy that real quick. Let's create a channel. Let's call it what should we call it? Well, is there already a channel? It's just, let's see. It's just general. All right, I'm going to share this in the chat for now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So you can all start participating in the Discord. I'm not going to moderate it. I can't. There's no way I'll be able to keep up with it. So it'll be untrammeled conversation. And who knows? Who knows how that'll go? So there you go. The general Sorting Myself Out. Welcome to our chat board. Feel free to discuss anything and create meaningful connections. Try to stay on the topic of sorting ourselves out and other meaningful musings. How's that? And then I'll pin that shit. Boom. Oh yeah. There you go. So I have no idea what's going to happen. So feel free to check out our Discord. We have it now. It's in the chat. Daniel says, let's have some civism. I don't know. What does that mean? Civism. Damn. Am I not understanding what that means, maybe? Civism. We're looking it up. The virtues of a good citizen. Oh, great. I learned a new word. Yes, let's have some civism on the Sorting Myself Out chat. Thank you for teaching me a new word. I agree with that. So please enjoy the Discord, everyone. If you don't have a Discord account, I suggest you make one. I know that some of you, oops. There's a voice channel going? Sorry, Grizz. What the fuck? God damn it. This is so fucking bullshit. I don't understand why that's... I exited out of Discord, so it shouldn't be happening anymore. What's up with the... Why does it auto-create voice channel? That's really weird. I'll figure that out. I think you showed me a little bit about that in the... I think you showed me a little bit about that in our video call. So, anyways, I need to get going. Thank you all. I hope the Discord thing works out. I can create other channels as I need to. I won't do any official announcements. So anybody who comes across this, we do now have Discord, but I won't do any official announcements until maybe we'll create a couple topics or something and then make it official. Or maybe I'll just start putting the link in the description. And yeah, anyways, thanks for sticking with me through this stream. And I appreciate all of you a lot. So we'll talk soon.